guys, so it's a little bit of a different video today. I'm trying to figure out what video I'm going to really make. 2024. Uploaded anything on this. The channel's going through a bit of a rebranding, so some stuff's going to change. But I was figuring we'd talk about. Oh god, I broke my shit. We talked about something I'm really interested in called the Mandela effect. And the Mandela effect is very interesting. I'm really happy to talk about it. I'm actually... Now, have you ever been absolutely certain about a past event only to find it never happened the way you were? You're not alone. From misremembering iconic lines in movies to recalling historical events from incorrectly, the Mandela effect showcases the unreliability of our memories. And that's a very important thing I want to talk about. I'm going to go into detail on that later. But for right now, let's scroll down. Let's see what the definition of Mandela effect is. Not to give you Mandela catalog, which is also a if you've never I'll watch it. The Mandela effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people remember something differently than how it occurred in reality. It's named after Nelson Mandela, as someone who incorrectly remembered him dying in the prison. I did too. I was one of those people. I thought he died in the 1980s. Turns out, no, he didn't. He died until the 2000s. Actually, 2010s, I think. Real quickly, when did he die? Okay, he died in 2013. Okay. So he didn't die until the 2010. Wow. That's right. Now here comes the big one. Is the Mandela effect real? Yes, the Mandela effect is a real research phenomenon and it's an interesting take on the reliability of human memory. Now, I'm gonna go back up and show you something. God damn it, I keep dropping shit. If I also sound low energy in my stream, I'm high. I'm stoned. Okay. So this, for reference, this is a VHS. Now, to those of you who were born after the 2000s, you're not gonna know what the hell this thing is. Or you might, depending on how you grew up. So, up until DVDs were a thing, this was how we watched movies. So on this tape, there's this magnetic tape. That's the data, that's the movie, that's the film. And if I can find a backwards picture, yeah, here we go. So these things right here are interesting as well. So these little turn dials in the back. So you would you're supposed to stick a tool in there, but like in the 90s, we just found something thick enough and stuck it in there, twisted it. So what that does is, if you've been part of the VHS world or movie world, or you know what Blockbuster is, you've heard the term "be kind, rewind." So that's basically because when it came to VHSs, they're just a one spool thing. Once that spool ends, the movie ends. So if you return that movie to the video store, don't wind it, then when the person watches the movie next time, they're gonna get the ending and get everything spoiled. So what you would do is, I would just take my finger in these things, and you just stick your finger there, and you just turn that dial, and those dials rewind the tape back to the beginning of the movie. Now, granted, most VHS players also had a rewind button that you hit the button, put the tape in, and it did it for you. Have that, you rewound it manually. But when VHSs first came out, there was no rewind button like on this. When they first came out, it was just this. Same thing with tape decks. If you like tape decks, you know those little tapes you see in movies they put in recorders? Yeah, those were a thing. You just stick a pencil in those, turn them, and it restarts the song. That's how you had to do it. Now, I hear you wondering, what does this have to do with Mandela? Well, here's the interesting part. That's your brain. Follow me on this. So the way the human brain works is the way it processes memories. So our brain is a supercomputer. It is extremely intelligent. It can do a lot of things that are mind-boggling. And one of the things it can do that is truly mind-boggling is memory retention, where things can happen to us, and at will, we can recall it and go, God, that was fun. God, that was horrible. Allah, that was terrifying. It's just stuff like that. But here's the interesting thing. So with these VHS tapes and DVDs, and hell, even for those kids who were born in the 2000s or 2010s who grew up with Xbox 360 and Xbox One, early Xbox One, physical discs, those work just like your brain. And I'll explain why. So all technology like that is inherently based on how our brain functions. So our brain will take a memory and store it. Now, sometimes the memory is horrible and it represses it. That's a whole nother thing about PTSD, and that's a whole nother brain talk. This one is mainly about memory and Mandela effect. Now, there are some people who sit there and go, oh, it's the government fucking with us. They're fucking with time. Or, oh, it's the Illuminati. You know, nonsensical bullshit. You gotta be pretty stupid to believe. So what actually is happening? And that article, I'll also leave a link to the article video so you can read it for yourself. So the fascinating thing is, imagine your brain is a VHS tape. But with your brain, every specific memory, both big and small, think of every memory you have as a VHS tape. Now the thing about VHS tapes and why we eventually moved to Blu-ray and DVDs is because if you watched a VHS too much, the film will become degraded and decrease in quality. It would skip, parts would just not play. It would just skip parts, not play. And eventually, and this also causes to Alzheimer's, is kind of like that too. And Alzheimer's and dementia are terrifying, but that's for another video. The more you watch the movie, the more it degraded. And as technology got better, there's more longevity, but up until digital games and digital movies and streaming were a thing, you watched a DVD too much, you watched a VHS too much, you played a CD too much, you played a video game too much, it would just inherently start breaking down. And that's where the Mandela effect comes in. So think of your brain as a VHS. Now, say there's one memory you really, really, really enjoy. You like coming back to that memory. Well, here's why that's a bad idea. While yes, it's a very happy memory, thinking back on it brings you joy, thinking back on a memory too much is actually very detrimental and dangerous to your brain. So much like a VHS, the more you remember a memory, the more and more degraded it becomes. Now, depending on your brain function and your intelligence and a bunch of other chemicals going on inside your brain, it can deteriorate by little small details, or by pretty big details, like you forgetting your mother's face after 30 years. Because you love your mother, and you have a great relationship with her, and you enjoy reliving memories with her, but eventually, once you start hitting like 40 and 50, you start to realize that, wait a minute, it's the same memory, but I'm forgetting what my mother looked like. That's because human memory is faulty. Like VHS tapes, DVDs, and CDs, and games, digital and physical games, they have a shelf life. Not a shelf life in the sense of, oh, you leave it for too long, it's going to go bad. No. You leave a DVD in a safe for 100 years. If you have the technology 100 years later, that DVD is going to work brand new just fine. But the issue then becomes, we begin, as history goes on and technology gets more and more advanced, our brain is overloaded more and more and more stimulation and memories and all kinds of stuff. Then drugs play a part into it, and then illness also plays a part into it. The point being is that, much like a VHS, your brain memories deteriorate. And this is where the Mandela effect comes in. Now, for instance, the most iconic one is Berenstain or Berenstain Bear. Now, personally for me, I always remember it as the Berenstain Bear, But a friend of mine remembers Berenstain and Steen. Turns out it's Steen because the creators were Jewish. But it goes deeper. Because then we have things like Luke, I am your father from Star Wars. That never happened. That line is never said in the movie at all. It's just, I am your father. And that could also be a memory being edited due to context. They can make more sense to someone who's not seen the movie. And that's another issue with coming into is when you have to replace context of a memory, that new context is influenced by your current brain status, not how your brain was functioning at the time the memory was recorded. So you have a new bias coming in, adding context, yes, but still editing that memory more. Much like you would take a DVD and upload it to a computer, open up the file, or open it up, cut out a scene, put it back on DVD, and boom, that scene never happened. That's how brains work. Memory work. In a rudimentary. These are all very rudimentary explanations. So if you really are interested in like the Mandela effect, the human brain, just go down the rabbit hole. It's super fascinating to learn about. And it makes you cherish your memories more, and it makes you more weary of rose-tinted glasses and nostalgia. Because nostalgia is great, but too much nostalgia can ruin it. Anyway, so that's basically how the Mandela effect roughly works, is due to outside stimuli or just by remembering something so much, the memory degrades, and you try to remember it to its full potential. So you would need to constantly replace parts of the memory that are being deteriorated. Again, but you're replacing it with things that are influenced by the now of the then. Believe in that kind of thing. If you believe in past, present, and future. Because there are people, like me, who believe that there is no such thing as past, future, and present. There is only the present. Because time is not linear. Time is not linear, and I wholeheartedly believe that time is how it is with how we perceive it. Because time is happening all at once. Let me phrase that. Time could be happening all at once. But it's so drawn out because that's how our lifespan and our brains process it. There's also the idea that we don't exist, in that sense of like, we're not human beings. There is another one that suggests that we're not human beings and that we are a outlet for the universe to experience it. And again, this is all tied to metaphysics, string theory, stuff that's really fucking complicated, but also stuff that's really, really fucking interesting. Again, I'm going to leave some links in the... I really want you to look into it. Oh, it's fun, especially stoned. Speaking of which, mid-video toke. Okay. So going back to the Mandela effect. Take someone from the 1980s. Take someone from the 1980s. And take someone from the mid-2000s and ask them, what happened to Nelson Mandela? Well, the people in the 1980s will probably sit there and tell you, oh, he died in prison. It's sad, but he died in prison. You ask someone in like 2014, they're going to sit there and say, oh no, he didn't die in 1980. He didn't die until 2013. So yeah, it says right here. While some people say the Mandela effect is just due to confirmation bias from misremembering, others entertain more speculative explanations, such as parallel universes. Now, if any of you follow NASA, and if you follow any kind of science person on Twitter, you'd learn that recently we found out that dark matter does exist. Dark matter is real and is in the universe. Now, here's why that's interesting. So dark matter dark matter, this now, dark matter. It's very interesting because the existence of dark matter, the fact that we know it exists, brings this line right here into suspect. Because with dark matter existing and being proven in the universe, that opens up the idea that there's a good chance parallel universes or multiverse theory could exist. And here's why that's interesting. Because there is another definition of Mandela effect that people use that I actually really like. Is this real? Don't know, but I hope so because that's really cool. So another idea for the Mandela effect is that so if you don't know how multiverse theory and parallel universes work, so the theory goes for every action you make, this is again a very, 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 very simplified explanation. Say you're at a fork in the road. There's left, right, straight. You go straight. Well, because you went straight, that decision you made now created two different universes where you have you, but in one universe, you went down the right path and got a completely different experience than left path and straight path. Hell, right path could have gone and found a bear and got attacked by a bear and died. Left could have found an alien and got abducted. Straight could have just found his way back to town. Close to the nearest Walmart or something, who knows? So every little decision you made creates a universe where you made the opposite of it. And because you have so many of these choices being made, there's so many people on Earth, I think, what's the current? Um, 2023 hasn't happened yet. 8 billion. So imagine that right now. There are 8 billion people, as you're watching this video, making decisions. And every single decision they make, another 8 billion people are making the opposite in a parallel universe. And when you start looking at it on that scale, people are realizing that the Mandela effect could, and again, this is the one thing, could also be universes colliding. Because there's only so much space. And the more people that are making these decisions, the more they just pile up until one could occasionally intersect and collide. And people sometimes like to entertain the idea that that's what Mandela effect is. It is universes colliding and merging. Meaning you have people who remember meaning you have people in 2023 who think the world is flat. There you go, look at them. In 2023, there's people who think the world is flat. Now this could be an explanation of Mandela, the Mandela effect, but by parallel universe rule, they very well could be from a universe where the Earth was flat, and unfortunately, those two universes collided, and now we've got these nut jobs saying the Earth is flat when it's not flat, it's round. Look at the horizon. Anyway, so it's little things like that that also play into the effect of the Mandela effect. But right now, the most logical explanation is the VHS theory. Is just with confirmation bias, misremembering, things like brain damage, Alzheimer's, dementia, drugs, things like this can affect and deteriorate brains. So that could also play a part in the Mandela effect. All we do know right now is that the Mandela effect is 100% tied to the human brain. So the Mandela effect may not even be real. It may just be something we made up. And let's go down to here. Examples. So the death of Bambi's mom. Along with the collective trauma we all share from the death of Bambi's mom, there's also a mind-blowing Mandela effect. It's hard for us to tell you this, but Bambi's mom doesn't die at the beginning of the movie. While nearly a whole generation remembers the tragic event happening at the beginning of the movie, it occurs about 40 minutes in, halfway through the film. Now that is interesting, because I don't remember that. I do not remember Bambi's mom's death in the beginning. I remember the death happening midway through the movie, because it was the rising climax of Act 2. The rising climax of Act... Well, no. How long was Bambi? Okay, so it's an hour and 10 minutes. So 40 of that... Okay, so the mother being shot and killed does not happen at the beginning of the movie. No, it happens about 40 minutes in, because it is the rising action and the climax of Act 1. Act 1 ends with the death of Bambi's mom and Bambi finding there. That starts Act 2. So technically, while the death of Bambi's mom is technically in the beginning, it is not at the beginning of the movie. It is near the end of Act 1. Different, because that's 40 minutes of stuff that happened. Now, this is an interesting one. It's Totino's. But I remember it being Tostino's. Apparently, that's not true either. Can you smell what the rock is cooking? We've all got it wrong. It goes, if you smell what the rock is cooking. Yeah, that's another one. Yep, it was a plaid skirt. Mirror, mirror. Like being wildly displayed as Desi's car. Yeah, sorry. Despite being widely reputed as Desi's catchphrase in I Love Lucy, the hard truth is never said. Or the hard truth is he never said, Lucy, you got some Oh no, hang on. I gotta do the one. Lucy, you've got some splaining to do. But anyway, apparently it's not that. It's this. So these are just some of the many effects of just TV. Yeah. The Monopoly Man never had a monocle. Mr. Rogers' theme song isn't what we remember. Yeah, it's a beautiful... Even I remember It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. But no, it's a beautiful... This neighborhood. Now, the Mr. Rogers one, that one could be different because most of us who watched Mr. Rogers were kids at the time. And there's been so much outward stimulation since then that one kind of makes sense that we would get a singular word that's kind of similar in context and spelling confused. So some of these are just like, okay, no, that didn't really. Avril Lavigne didn't have milk. That being said, I want to do my own Mandela effect. So anyone who was in like middle school, high school from 2010 to 2020, do you guys remember a Got Milk poster that had Taylor Swift on it? Like country song Taylor Swift, not the god-awful mess she's become now. I meant like OG Taylor Swift. Anyone else remember that? Because I've been trying to ask people about it and no one else remembers it. And this one right here, Fruit of the Loom. I don't remember the cornucopia on it. The cornucopia never existed. That's how it's always been. And I remember it as this. I love Fruit of the Loom underwear. Very good. But anyway, yeah, these are just some of the many, and then here it is, the Berenstain Bears. Actually called Berenstain. Holy shit! I sat there and said Berenstein in this video, and it was right. And I said it was right, and it's wrong. There you go. There you go. You guys just got a fucking live demonstration of Mandela effect. What the fuck? Okay, that's... Oh. What the fuck am I smoking? Where can I get more of it? It's amazing. But yeah, like, even far as emojis, like, if you remember any of these emojis, they never existed. And here comes the big one. Because I gotta wrap this video up soon. I want to take time. I want to keep these videos about this stuff, like, short and digestible. I really fucking love this content. We're almost at... Okay. So, alternate realities. This is the most popular non-scientific explanation for Mandela effect. Actually, I would disagree. This word right here is incorrect. Alternate realities is not a non-scientific explanation because science now sits there. Well, science now believes that because of dark matter, alternate realities could be a thing. He says right here, it has movie plots, and some physicists even defend the multiverse. And here's the thing. Neil deGrasse Tyson, one of the smartest men in the world, who's gotten a lot of things right, and has made a lot of sense of things. Even Bill Nye, they both believe in multiverse. So, I mean, two extremely intelligent people, far more intelligent than most of the human population, two of them believing it kind of holds some weight to it because they're two of the smartest people in the world. They're some of the smartest people in the world. Like, they are... you know what, fuck it, I don't care who I offend. They are god tier scientists with how they do things. False memories, that's another one, like confabulation. Yep, this exactly. As humans, we need resolution, and our brain fills in the gaps that either don't make sense or are simply missing. This is a great explanation for This is a great explanation for Mandela effect, like Berenstain Bears, where the spelling makes more sense with an E. It's possible people fill in the gap and adjust into reality to fit their assumptions. Assumptions. Fucking Christ. This is what I was talking about. Confabulation. It's the VHS theory. It is the VHS and remastering movie theory. Because you know how they remaster Star Wars and they cut things out and change things. Well, basically, think of your brain, and every time you remember a memory, you are remastering that memory. But you're remastering it with outside biases you have that you didn't have at the time the memory was made. So, it literally is just brains and DVDs and VHS. It's all extremely similar. It's a fantastic way to... But yeah, that really does it for this video. I don't know. Bored. I'm really high. I watched a video on the multiverse and Mandela effect, and now I really wanna... I really want to do it. I want to do more of this stuff. Interesting. And I do want to do more philosophy. And I know, oh, but you're a VTuber. Yeah, I'm a VTuber. I play games. That stuff. But sometimes it's just fun to put down the VTuber model, and just gush about something I'm really fucking interested in. I'm gonna do more videos on it. And honestly, if things related to this or videos like this that you want me to react to, you can let me know on Twitter. I'll genuinely watch it because I love shit. Like, I love it. It's so fascinating to think because it's so easy to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, this is what happens." Blah blah blah. But it's just not like that. As technology increases and time goes on, we're finding that the universe around us is more and more complex than fucking thought. Hell, we literally can talk to a computer, and a computer will carry on a conversation with us like a normal person. With AI chatbot. Stack that against 20 years ago when, you remember VHSs? Yeah, now we're on this compact disc. Did you fix the deterioration issues? No. These things will still wear down once you play them, but it's longer now. And then we got HD DVDs, longer longevity. Then we got Blu-rays, longer longevity. And then we finally are at where we're at today. Streaming. Zenith of the evolution of the tape, the recorded tape. Because now, full-on things are encapsulated forever with no editing done to it if it's an untouched video. That's why a lot of people sit there and say that when you have a family, having a video camera and taking pictures and recording fond memories is very, very important. Because if you can capture these fond memories on a camera, and you sit there and go, "Oh man, was my mother wearing a blue shirt or a red shirt that it was wore blue, but I knew she liked red." You just pull up the video and go, "Oh no, it was blue. Oh wow, I was thinner then too, and oh, I didn't notice the tree was greener then." You'll start to notice things you didn't notice before because now you have a recording of said memory, and your brain is going, "Oh no, we have all the information right here. Cool, never mind." That's also why, if anyone watching this video is going through the very, very traumatizing, very horrifying ordeal that is a loved one with Alzheimer's or dementia, record everything. Just record everything you do with it. Because they'll forget it the minute the video stops playing, because that's just how their brain is. Their brain is slowly dying. But if you record it and you watch it with them, it's the only way they're able to relive that memory to the fullest, barring they're not too far near the end of dementia. So, a little bit of a somber note to end on, but just if anyone here is dealing with dementia, family members with dementia, just record everything you do. Record it all. That way you can also remember them for who they were, and not remember them as this slowly fading away husk that resembled loved one. Because as sad as it can be, dementia is terrifying because dementia is dying without actually dying. I mean, yes, granted, in the final stage of dementia, your body does shut down, but your brain dies. And as we are our brain, without our brain, we are nothing. And with dementia, the brain dies before the body. So your last few moments are spent as just a mindless husk. Your brain is gone. Any semblance of you in your head is just gone now. And it's really bad. It's also, morbid sense, very fascinating that our brains are this intelligent, can think of so many things, but yet it's still vulnerable to things like dementia. And it really is kind of humbling. Realize, wow, we're humans. We're actually not the zenith of of nature. We're not this amazing species. Actually, pretty fucking frail. Think about it. Axolotls can regenerate limbs and have biological immortality. You could die tomorrow by drinking water the wrong way. Let that sink in. If you ever have an ego complex to think you're hot shit because you're a human, just remember that. This tiny little axolotl animal is extremely tiny, is biologically immortal, and can regrow limbs. And a simple thimble of water or air getting in our veins kill us. Let that sink in tonight. Let that sink in and just realize that. Fuck. Human bodies. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna go finish this bowl and probably hit a blunt or two, and then I'm going to. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and comment below. And if you really want me to do more of these, let me know. I'll gladly research a topic you guys give me. I love this stuff, and because I dog on flat earthers, I want you to know I do not hate flat earthers. I do not hate conspiracy theory. I don't hate anyone. It is not in my nature to hate, because it has no place. Hate does nothing, and hate is just useless, misplaced self-anger. That's what it is. It's insecurities coming forward and projecting. But I never hate anyone. However, I am not above calling out bullshit. And that's why I kind of want to start doing a series where I look at conspiracy theories and kind of give my opinion and try and debunk them. Maybe I can figure something out that makes sense that others can't. Who knows? And it'll be a great way to bond, because if you guys really find a conspiracy theory you want me to look at, or if you just want to kill my brain cells with a brain dead one, like attack helicopters in your bloodstream, or black people being the moon and Asian people being the sun, and a time cube. Those of you who watch Mudahar will know that one. But anyway, I'm rambling where I don't need to be rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a happy New Year's, and I hope everyone's 2024 best year it could possibly have.